The sun moves into gateway number 59 and opens up a whole different area of our lives. The 59 is a gateway called intimacy, and it's part of what we call the tribal circuitry. And tribal circuitry has as a keyword support. Right? How do we support each other? What's our role in bringing about the betterment or the growth within our family, tribe, community, corporation, client base, etc. So very, very different than the collective, where we're all about rules and beliefs, and the individual, which is all about personal empowerment. So the tribal is very much involving other people and situations in our lives. So here's the page for the 59, and the channel there is the 59-6. And we notice when we look at the wheel closely, we see these two are very close together. And so 59-6 is shows up quite a bit, and it would need to do so because it is the channel of procreation. It's a channel that is highly creative within the tribe. It's about producing new tribal members apart from anything else, family members. And but it's also highly creative in other ways as well, about birthing projects and birthing creative aspects of life. So let's have a look at this, the gateway of intimacy, dispersion. So we get this idea of dispersing seed, genetic life strategy, sexuality. So the 59 is about scattering seed. It's about ejaculation in a way in terms of intimacy. And the whole thing is it going to find the right environment where it lands up? You know, is that sperm going to find its egg? Is our creative output, is the seeds that we scatter out into the world, are they going to find fertile ground or places where our creativity is going to be acceptable or accepted? Is it going to come into places in life where the work is going to be recognized, the output is seen, and things can grow from it? So sexuality, yes, dissolving barriers, we establish union. So the 59 is all about looking, where am I going to put out this energy for it to find the most fertile of all situations possible? Connecting through genetically ordered interactions allows for intimacy, openness, and association on the most profound levels of life. Right? Of course, you know, sexuality and penetration and scattering seed to find an egg, to find a womb, to find a procreation is very, very intimate, very amazing. We all come into the world from being conceived through human intimacy, and we're either willing or unwilling to acknowledge this, right? The sacral links to the sacred. So in any birthing, the doors of the sacred are open for sure, and the same with any dying as well, when we disappear off into the other side again. But the 59 is the one that opens the gateway, opens that possibility for the fertilization to take place. And we'll see when we go through the lines, you know, there are certain very different ways that connection takes place. It is said between men and women, particularly, there's always this kind of sexual interaction of one way or another. There's always some kind of sexual attraction. There's kind of instant weighing up. Is this a potential fertile partner? And so what we're going to see is through the 59 has a very particular genetic program that it's running, you know, that certain people are going to be a good match and other people not so much. And some people are going to be very fertile and some absolutely not at all. And so I can't say you can blame the stars or you can blame the hexagrams in the I Ching, but, you know, it's just, we actually get a glimpse to see that it is said that for fertilization to take place, the 59 and the 6 have to make a connection. And even if they do make a connection, it doesn't mean to say that the balance is going to be right, because the 6 has its own pH, it has its own recording of alkalinity or acidity for the sperm to find a perfect environment in which to attach itself to an egg. So, you know, I'm talking about the sexual side of things. It's also, this channel is very much about creating things in the world presumably for the tribe or for that whole connection, whether it's a global tribe or whether it's a more limited tribe. People with the 59 or the sun going to the 59 will see that there's a potential for us to put things out into the world and see if they land anywhere. So let's have a look through the lines. First line, and remember the first line, always the foundation of any hexagram. It describes what that hexagram is all about. And the first line is called penetrating. Evolution is only possible through interaction. My viewing of this first line is, whether it's sexual or not, it's about needing to make contact or not. So I very often say, when I see this in somebody's chart, I say, look, there's going to be times when you're in a group of people in a room and it's some kind of gathering together that is significant. It's a tribal gathering of some sort. It's a party or something, right? And the first line is going to see somebody on the other side of the room, and it doesn't matter who's in the way, what distractions there are, the first line is going to go through there and make connection with that person, whatever, right? Evolution is only possible through interaction. I'm going to go and talk to that person, even if they start avoiding me and going somewhere else. I'm going to get right across there. The other side of it is, I don't care how much that person wants to connect with me, it's not happening. I will leave if need be, but there's no way we're going to meet up during this gathering together here. So that's the bottom line with the 59. It's all or nothing, right? Penetration or not, You respond decisively to openings for interaction or hesitate and miss your chance. So there it is. As the sun goes into the 59, it's all or nothing. You're going to see, all right, I've got to make a connection here, or I'm going to have to avoid the thing altogether. If I hesitate, I'll always be wondering, what might have happened there. The sun energy here in this line, your bright nature carries you through any doorway into intimacy. So watch out on that, throughout this week of the 59, that it's a very fertile week, potentially. For those of you that want to have children, this might be the great opportunity for you. Your bright nature carries you through any doorway to intimacy. I mean, remember about intimacy, to provide the most amazing possible connection or the most amazing child, it's all about being conscious. It's all about being really, in the moment, in love, in this place, in the act of the connection. The chemistry will look after itself, but it's all about creating that environment, that energy. So your bright nature carries you through any doorway into intimacy. And through intimacy is that just complete transparency, just wide openness. And then Mercury can tend to overthink things a little bit, finding complications in intimacy. You become uncertain about when and how to interact. So there's that possibility of seeing somebody on the other side of the room and then kind of, well, do they really want to have anything to do with me? Is there any kind of a match-up? Am I ready for this? And the mind can bring in, Mercury can bring in all kinds of complications. There's a potential there. Second line always has a very innocent side to things. I say about the second line, very natural, not so sophisticated. And the lack of sophistication sometimes can say, I'll just not bother, I'll be shy. I hope they notice me. I hope they come and find me. And there can be very much about that with the second line, that the one person you're interested in is the only person you avoid altogether. Until, I thought we had a connection. And they somehow they're drawn in to come and connect with the second line. And then the line is called joining in. Okay, once that connection is established, an inner separation that can also open up to profound intimacies. The second line, being so natural, natural in intimacy, it can be absolutely delightful. But there is that potential hesitancy in the first place, especially if there's a sense I don't really know what I'm doing here. Your inherent tendency to be separate eventually finds a way to be easy interrelating. And it's just that thing, the introvert, the extrovert, or whatever, they're both two sides of the same energy. And the shyness and the boldness. And that is something that can very easily come across with the 59, the second line. The connection is obvious, but, it's up to them to make the approach. Your innovative, even unusual approach to intimacy assists others to evolve in their lives. And there it is. It's the second line all through and through. Is this so natural? It's like everybody can really relax in the second line's company. And here, with Pluto, your deeply self-involved nature can often keep others at arm's length. And here we're going to kind of look a little bit into Pluto in the 59 with the second line. And we might just say, you know, there's a possibility of infertility here. It's like, you know, the chemistry just will not work somehow. And it can just happen. You know, there's that just, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to stay inside myself, even though there's going to be a sexuality and an openness and lovemaking and all that. But somehow or other, there's not going to be, the chemistry is not going to match. The third line, we can say there's, you know, third line is going to prepare to be touching everybody, like connecting everywhere. So a little bit of a promiscuity perhaps around the third line. And the genes are very interested in third line because, you know, we can have all kinds of mutations. We don't necessarily have to have a second line matching a second line or a third line matching a third line. Third lines can go with any other kind of lines and, you know, somehow the chemistry will work its way out. So connecting, serving yourself and your world by triggering interactions. So not just on a sexual level, but the 59 with the third line opens up all kinds of possibilities for intimacies to take place. They don't all have to be sexual. They can be, you know, great interactions, great friendships, great partnerships. You're open to respond to all kinds of associations and intimacies. The word respond there, remember the 59 is in the sacral center, so sacral center is all about response. And I'm saying the genes have their program. You know, the genes are going to say, oh, here's an interesting connection. There might be a perfect genetic match here, and humanity can keep on procreating and carrying on. So you're open to respond to all kinds of intimacies and associations. The Saturn here, the sensible nature to find intimacy as a refreshment for your spirit. So not necessarily a serious thing, a serious affair, you know, like I say, potentially promiscuous. Let's try this, let's try that, let's go over here, let's see if there's a match over here, let's see if there's some fun over here. The 59, you know, it's going to connect to the 6 if, you know, that's what it's looking to do. It's looking to make that connection. And the 6 in the emotion center. And the emotion center is our center of pleasure. You know, as human beings, you know, part of the deal here is to be pleasured. And so 59 is very much opening up that possibility that sex could be extraordinarily pleasurable. I mean, is there such a thing as bad sex, you know, if one is consciously going into it? So the third line is able to make connections anywhere, basically. Sensible nature to find intimacy as a refreshment for your spirit, sacral, sacred, yeah? And then the Mars side, actively seeking union and intimacy in any situation, even sometimes being promiscuous. Well, you know, who's to say that promiscuity is a bad thing? It just depends, you know, is love involved in it? Or is it just, you know, I'm going to have my way, whatever. And so, you know, third line is always in that experimental level of trying things out, penetrating into new environments, going into new situations, new affairs. In the end, you know, what are we here for if not to be satisfied or fulfilled? And so, you know, some sex can be extraordinarily fulfilling and other kind of leaves us hanging a little bit, not so great. And what to do? The genes have their way with us, you know. These first, second, third lines, the genes are kind of running the show for us a little bit. And hopefully we can all be a little bit more aware of exactly who we're drawn to and what is the context and what's the arrangement of it all. The fourth line, being friendly. Here's the extraordinary thing within the middle of these lines. The fourth line is really about friendship. Yes, there's going to be a sexual attraction. Yes, there's going to be that buzz. And there may be, you know, there may be great intimacy comes out of that buzz. As though, you know, starting off in friendship, you know, great friends. And then all of a sudden, slowly, it becomes more intimate until it gets really hot and heavy. And then all of a sudden it peaks and goes back to being friends again. And this can be a real puzzle for people with this 59 with the fourth line, and indeed people with a lot of fourth lines in their design charts. That yes, they can have great friendships. Yes, there can be tremendous intimacy, and then it still goes to being friends in the end. An openness to being friendly with anyone. And your intimacy is founded in friendships, right? Founded in friendships that may become more and less intense over time. And there it is. The energy goes up, it peaks, and then it goes back down again. And where's the passion gone? Can't the passion be rekindled and re-evaluated in life? And basically what this line is saying is, that's not the point. The point is friendship, through it all. Can you be friends before, during, and after sex? And before, during, and after this great intimacy takes place. Here, Venus, you promote friendships that dissolve barriers or dissolve established barriers and transcend tradition. There are people with a 59th gateway, and you may find during this week where the sun is shining its light in the 59, that we're drawn into all kinds of intimacies and interactions that normally don't happen for us. And I very often tease people with a 59th gateway. They can meet somebody and, the potential connection is into the emotion center, into the whole arena of pleasure. And in the first 20 seconds, all of a sudden that person that you're meeting, they've decided you're their best friend. They want your phone number, they want to hang out with you, and it's like the 59 saying, hang on, didn't we just meet? And it's triggered this intimacy in somebody else. And just as that sense of, oh, wow, this person's so easy to get along with, I just feel this buzz, this connection, whether it's sexual or not, it's just we have a connection. With Mercury in the 59 with the fourth line, confusing your intimacy roles, you risk moving into needlessly intense involvements. The fourth line has to be really understood. It is this thing of getting in through friendship, becoming really intimate, and then just we're friends. We can be very deeply intimate friends, but it doesn't necessarily need to be sexual or in that kind of vein. So Mercury tends to overthink things. I mean, aren't we friends? Isn't it okay that we're passionate all the time? And the 59 with the fourth line may just not have that level of passion anymore. 59 with the fifth line. So fifth line is in this leadership role, this coaching role, teaching role, if you will. And the line is called Unifying, the gift of enhancing all interactions. And here the 59 with the fifth line has a very, very easy way of being intimate. They can take people under their wing who are a little shy or a little concerned or not so easy sexually. And the 59-5 can just, come on, it's really easy. We can have this tremendous intimacy together. But again, fifth line, there's always this thing of, yes, they can be the leader. Yes, there's all kinds of projections onto the fifth line, that they're going to do this and be savvy and loving and caring and all of these things. And the 59 with the fifth line may not have those qualities. It may just be, oh, I see another opportunity for pleasure here. Relating to the needs of others, you bring intimacy through love, respect, and sexuality. This is in the highest possibility of it. You have the intense power to encourage everyone to find common accord and union. Yes, the fifth line really can open that possibility for everybody to be comfortable, easy with their sexuality, with their intimacy. Can't we all just get along? Can't we all just be friends? Is there a complication? Can I ease that complication for you? And then the other side of it, Uranus, you innovatively dissolve intimacy barriers in yourself and others. And so Uranus, or this other flavor of the 59 of the fifth line, can have this very magical effect in terms of, oh, you've got to hang up here, or this is a problem for you there. Can't we just talk about it? I don't know about anybody else, but growing up in the time I grew up, I didn't hear the word sex until I was well into my teens, and getting involved in sex. I mean, once it happened, it was just amazing. It was very, very exciting, but a lot of repression around sex, because it is opening up into that whole realm of the emotions and the feelings. And through feelings, there are so many things that could be described as guilt or blame or shame or all these things. And we all have to be very, very clear that when the 59 is in, sexuality is on. The sun is blazing that sexuality out. It's blazing that potential for intimacy. And intimacy requires transparency. No hiding, no barriers, no yielding. It's just a complete openness. The penetration that takes place is extraordinary. physical penetration that moves into intimacy, even moves into spirituality and a form of prayer. 59 with the sixth line being discerning. You're very particular in your intimacies. And here we are, the conclusion of the 59. You know, we've gone through all these different levels in which the genes are attracting us to other people or bringing other people into intimacy with us on one level or another. And by the time you get to the sixth line, I'm not so sure about this. You know, if I'm going to be intimate with this person, do they check off all the boxes for me? I mean, do they have a good job? They have a nice house. They keep themselves clean and tidy. They have good diet. They're healthy. You know, the 59 with the sixth line can be very particular. I remember one time saying to somebody when they had the 59 with the sixth line in their design, I said, you know, you're very picky in your intimacies. And she looked at me for a moment and said, the word is discerning. And so I put discerning in the book of lines here. But it's true, the 59 with the sixth line just does not necessarily want to have a fling everywhere. They learn very, very quickly in life, you know, there are certain people that are going to match and others that are not. And so it ends up being very particular. You develop a sense over time of how, what, when, and who suits you in your intimate life. So just to that, really looking around to see, in a long term, if there's going to be procreation here, good that we get into this in a really right way, a very prayerful way, and that we have this tremendously open and transparent connection between us. Venus here, you find an inner recognition of the harmony you need to be intimately fulfilled. Venus is always looking for the attraction, for the soulmate, for that just rounded, loving connection. And with the sixth line is, yeah, you know, if you match all my principles, all my concerns around intimacy, it's going to be amazing. And then for Mercury, again, the tendency to overthink things a little bit. You find one reason or another to limit yourself in realizing profound intimacy. Right? It's not going to happen. You know, there's this barrier, there's this problem, whatever. And again, you know, very, very easy to be put off by all these admonishments humanity's being given around guilt and blame and shame and mismatches and societal, racist, all kinds of reasons we can find not to be intimate. But let's just see, the sun's going to be in the 59 and it's going to be shining through all these different levels of attraction. And the great thing to see is who are we attracted to and who not. Where is it that we can have the greatest, transparent, most intimate connection? And that's what the 59 is all about.